So those are being processed right now. The Secret Service agent that was on the course did a fantastic job. What they do is they have an agent that jumps one hole ahead of time to where the president was at. And he was able to spot this rifle barrel sticking out of the fence and immediately engage that individual, at which time the individual took off. So that's what we know about the investigation. We have somebody in custody right now that is a potential suspect. We got a little bit more work to do on it, but as we usually do, as soon as we decide that we're going to book him into the county jail and the charges that he's going to be booked into, we'll get those to you and we'll get a picture of him and we'll get you his background. So now I'm going to turn it over to the representative of the Secret Service, and he's going to make a brief statement.
Okay, so let's stick with
Good
this.
afternoon, everyone. I first want to thank all of our law enforcement partners, to include the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office and the Martin County Sheriff's Office, for their involvement today. Former President Donald Trump is safe and unharmed following a protective incident shortly before 2 p.m. on Sunday at Trump International Golf Club at West Palm Beach. The U.S. Secret Service personnel opened fire on a gunman located near the property line, and this matter is under investigation. I'll turn it over to my partners over at the FBI.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Veltri. I'm the special agent in charge of the FBI's Miami field office. The FBI has assumed the role as the lead federal law enforcement agency in the investigation of the incident that occurred earlier today at Trump International Golf Course here in West Palm Beach, Florida. We've deployed a number of resources, including investigative teams, crisis response team members, bomb technicians, and evidence response team members as well. What we need right now is for the public to avoid the area around the golf course. We will continue to support this investigation with the full resources of the FBI, alongside our partners with the United States Secret Service and the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office, as well as Martin County Sheriff's Office and state and local law enforcement. I would ask that if anyone has any information that may assist with this investigation, to contact our tip line at 1-800-CALL-FBI or at tips, that's TIPS, .FBI.gov. Thank you.
David?
Hi, I'm Dave Ehrenberg, State Attorney for Palm Beach County. I want to thank Sheriff Bradshaw and our partners at the local, state, and federal levels. I'm here because our prosecutors are currently working up warrants and a motion for pretrial detention for the suspect. In that way, he will be kept in custody. But our filing of these warrants and charges at the state level does not preclude federal charges that could be coming. But in the meantime, it looks like the warrants and the pretrial detention motion will happen first. And again, I want to thank the cooperation we've had with our federal partners and at the local level. And thank you all for being here today.
Okay, we're going to make these pictures available to you. It'll show you a picture of the backpack and the rifle. And there's also a GoPro on the fence there where he was intent on filming what was going on. Even though we're going to have to secure a couple of areas around the golf course here, the public doesn't need to panic. We know that we got a post office, a library, and a school down the street. So we'll make it convenient for you to get to all the places you need to go, get your kids to school, get them over here to the post office or wherever else you need to go. It's safe, there's no more danger here, and we'll make it very convenient for you. So having said that, we're going to take a very limited amount of questions, and you can direct them to who you want to answer the question.
Sheriff, did this individual make any statements as he was being detained?
No statement right now as far as his involvement in the incident, and there's further investigation to be completed.
What was his demeanor like?
Yeah, I'm not sure if maybe the first gentleman answered. I misunderstood, or couldn't quite understand. So there was a rifle. So one of your agents saw on the golf course saw a rifle pointing to a fence. Was it a chain link? Okay, so he saw that, the agent.
That is correct, yes.
And the president or former president was on the course behind him. How close?
It was 1 or 2 holes behind.
Understood.
That because the bubble moves through the golf course. So our agents will get there first, clear it. He noticed that the rifle was pointed out. Our agents engaged. We are not sure right now if the individual was able to take a shot at our agents, but for sure our agents were able to engage with the subject. I don't know that.
Doesn't appear so.
Is there a bonus?
Yep. Al?
How far away was the president? How far away was Donald Trump when this gentleman was caught and stopped?
Probably between 300 and 500 yards, but with a rifle and a scope like that, that's not a long distance.
For the Secret Service, how far was your agent from the would-be assailant?
That I'm not sure right now. We're still looking into it.
Reports of the 4 rounds of ammunition were fired. Were all 4 of those from your agent?
That is correct. 4 to 6. We're not sure yet.
Was there a long distance? Explain why.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
WBF 25. I was wondering what how this was able to happen, and for future reference, is there any up security in the golf course?
I didn't hear all that. Say that one more time and talk up a little bit.
So how was this able to happen, and for future reference, is there any up security in the golf course?
Well, you got to understand the golf course is surrounded by shrubbery. So when somebody gets into the shrubbery, they're pretty much out of sight. All right. And at this level that he is at right now, he's not the sitting president. If he was, we would have had this entire golf course around it. Well, because he's not, the security is limited to the areas that the Secret Service deems possible. So I would imagine that the next time he comes to the golf course, there'll probably be a little bit more people around the perimeter. But the Secret Service did exactly what they should have done. They provided exactly what the protection should have been, and their agent did a fantastic job.
Which direction was the shrub where he was? North, south? I guess east, west, or south is the road?
The layout of the golf course, you've got 3 holes, 5, 6, and 7. All right, one of them runs parallel to Summit Boulevard. One of them runs parallel to Congress. And he was in an area in the shrubbery where he could see both holes. So the president was another hole back, which means he's about between 400 and 500 yards away.
So he was on the golf course?
Oh, he's on the golf course, yeah, but he's back a ways.
For the Secret Service, have you guys changed at all the way that you guys are protecting former President Donald Trump? There's now a potential second attempt on him. Can you just elaborate on how things have changed and what you make of all this?
Yes, the threat level is high. We have increased the amount of assets that we've supported. So we live in danger times, so yes.
We're done with questions right now. There's really nothing more for us to add. I just want to tell you, the Secret Service and the FBI and the State Attorney's Office have been fantastic to work with. And I can tell you right now, our agency with this real-time crime center was fabulous. That's how we got the guy. We started out with, we don't know anything, to where we had a tag, we had a vehicle description, and we got an area where we saw the person. So be proud of your law enforcement. All right, thanks, folks. We'll get back to you.
Okay, so there you have that.
Yeah, she'll get the photos to you.
All right, so I can tell you that the suspect is 58 years old. His name, Ryan Wesley Routh. Ryan Wesley Routh. He is described as sort of a left-wing champion of do-good causes. So we're told. What else can I tell you about him? Well, I can tell you that our internet is freezing up. I can tell you that. Hopefully we're still on with you guys. I think we're okay. And I believe we have a piece of video in which you can see what he looks like and what he had to say about U.S. involvement in Ukraine. So here's a clip of Ryan Routh from social media. This is what's circulating around. This is allegedly the suspect. Here we go. Hopefully the internet cooperates.
Please tell me who you are and why are you here?
I'm 56 from the U.S. From North Carolina originally, so live in Hawaii now, so flew all the way from Hawaii here. So the question as far as why I'm here, to me, you know, a lot of the other conflicts are gray, but this conflict is definitely black and white. This is about good versus evil. This is a storybook, you know, any movie we've ever watched, this is definitely evil against good. I mean, we're battling a situation here where, you know, the Ukrainians and the rest of the world are caring and kind and generous and unselfish and take care of one another. And it's just a matter of, you know, we need to stand up for that. That is the most important thing in the world, is just to show human beings that we're kind and we're caring and that we take care of one another and that the world is united so that we feed each other and make sure that, you know, we all move forward as one collective whole unit. So, you know, we feel the pain of one country's failure and their conflicts, and we enjoy the successes of other countries that are doing good, and we all work together. And for some reason, Russia does not grasp this concept that we're all one unit, and we have to get along and work together and be normal human beings. This is 2022. We have to work together. It seems asinine that we have a leader in a country that does not understand the concept of being unselfish and being generous and being kind and just the basic moral values that are required by human beings these days. It blows my mind.
And what are you doing here in Ukraine?
My initial goal was to come and fight. I think, you know, everybody around the globe should be motivated to come here and support the Ukrainians and support the army, no matter what gender, age, anything. Everybody should be here supporting the army. But I'm 56, so initially they were like, well, I have no military experience, so they're like, you're not an ideal candidate. So they said, not right this minute. So plan B was to come here to Kyiv and promote getting more people here. You know, we need thousands and thousands and thousands of people here fighting with the Ukrainians. We need, you know, we've got 190 countries around the world, and we need thousands from all of them. If the governments will not send their official military, then we civilians have to pick up the torch and make this thing happen. And we've gotten some wonderful people here, but it's a small fraction of the number that should be here. If we have 5,000, you know, to 10,000 people here fighting, you know, that is just a minuscule amount of the 5 billion people on the globe. You know, we need everyone here fighting. That's why I'm in Kyiv. So every project that I promote is about getting people here to support the Ukrainians. We were at a critical juncture in this war where we are sitting on the fence as far as whether good or evil is going to win. You know, right now we're looking at a situation where the world is waning and it's thinking that this is important or not. And we're at a point where, you know, all right, are we going to stand for humanity, for human rights, for everything that is good with the world? Or are we just going to ignore it? You know, if everybody is complacent and doesn't join this fight, then guess who's going to win? It might take 10 years, but we're going to lose this battle if everyone around the globe does not stop what they're doing and get off the couch and come to Ukraine and defend the human rights of everyone around the globe. This is the most important thing going on in the world today. So sitting around and letting life go on as normal and complaining about gas prices and complaining about, you know, your luxury life in whatever country you live in is unacceptable. As human beings, we must support each other. We cannot turn our backs on anyone around the world and expect the problem to go away. So I've been dealing with Russia for my entire life, you know, We had one period where it was okay, but now we've let it slip back into terrorism. So it's just, the world needs to respond. You know, why world leaders are not sending military is beyond me. We're going to have to elect new leaders the next go around that have a backbone and that, you know, have the fortitude to say, hey, we're not going to tolerate this type of behavior. This type of behavior is unacceptable anywhere, any place, you know. So it's totally unacceptable. And why people are not responding, I do not know.
What impressed you the most since you are here?
My trip to Irpin was pretty emotional. So, you know, going and seeing the buildings that were burned and destroyed and things of that nature. I think more emotional for me is just talking to the guys that have come here. You know, when you talk to a 20-year-old guy that sold everything he owns to come here to fight, that is heroism. You know, he's come here to risk his life for humanity, for the Ukrainians. You know, guys that sell everything they own to come here and support the Ukrainians while others sit at home and do nothing. You know, it's totally mind-blowing how we have this divide of people that are selfless and courageous and wonderful and willing to sell everything they own to come here and support, you know, keep people from getting killed, to shelter kids and protect Ukrainians, and others that just, you know, want to sit at home and not. It's just, you know, it's an indictment of our entire human society to say, hey, you know, where do we stand? Do we stand for good, or do we just not care? I mean, does the world not care? That's the feeling that I wrestle with every day in my interactions with everybody. You know, every one of us is responsible for the outcome of this war. Every one of us, you know, by our actions and what we do. And, you know, when I call back home and say, hey, I need $5 so I can, you know, put enough money together to get a vest for a Ukrainian, and I get no response, I'm like, I'm not sure that the world is as wonderful as I once thought it was. I had thought that everyone would respond, you know, very generously and unselfishly, and you know, you don't have to come, but, you know, if I ask for $5 to buy a vest to save a Ukrainian life, it seems like that would be a no-brainer, but I increasingly get more disappointed in humanity, and I'm beginning to question whether or not we're going to end up on the right side of this equation.
So you are working with the International Legion.
Yes.
And you are trying to convince people to help, to donate, and to join.
Yeah.
My final question is, what would you say to the people in order to convince them to join the International Legion, or to donate for it, or to be involved in the humanitarian aid to Ukraine?
Right. It's just extremely important, the whole thing. As far as joining the military, you know, yes, if you have some military experience or know people with military experience, encouraging them to come and fight. We have units all over the place. So, you know, there were some leadership issues initially, but we've got so many units available to us: Georgian, Crimean, Ukrainian, Territorial Defense, Foreign Legion. We have, you know, so many paramilitary groups. I put a 74-year-old Japanese guy in a unit. So, you know, we have girls in units. So we have two girls that are in the unit up the street. So any gender, any age, any skill level to no skill level. But yeah, if you want to fight, come here and see me, and I'll put you in a unit so you can go fight. But regardless of that, we should have thousands upon thousands of people standing here with the Ukrainians. This Maiden Square, Independence Square, we should have millions of people in this square, filling the square from every country around the world. And while we don't, I don't understand. I'm here every day with all the flags from all the supporting countries, with the memorials for the people that have died. And, you know, I've had several people come, but just a handful, you know. So it blows my mind that I'm standing here alone without thousands of people from every country, from Asia, from Africa, from Australia, from Canada, from everywhere in South America, every place.
Europe.
Europe, everywhere. We need everybody here. You know, if you have no skills, just come. You know, we need to be cheerleaders. Just being here and saying, hey, I support the Ukrainians and I support human rights and I support good and generosity and caring and kindness and altruism, and it's just, you know, we need to show the world that we care, and it's essential. You know, if you don't do any work at all, just being here and supporting and showing them that we care for our fellow human beings is the most important thing we can do.
Weird. Really weird. Hang on a second here. Let me just get this call. Okay, I'll take a short break. I'll be right back after I figure out what this call is about.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on Earth.
The entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching. The world is watching. On TV, the entire world is watching. On social media.
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching.
Okay, and joining us live right now is the one, the only Joseph Leonard from Detroit, Michigan, contributor to the Maverick News channel. Sir, you've been following this story since it broke this afternoon. You've seen what we just provided in terms of the police news conference, the video we just ran of what appears to be the main suspect in this, maybe the only suspect. Just bring us up to date. What do you think? What do you know?
Well, I'm going to turn off chat here because that's going on about Ukraine because he was ranting about Ukraine. Every issue is on its own merit. One has nothing to do with the others here other than perhaps this person thinking Trump indeed might intercede after elected and create a negotiated settlement. Therefore, then, rather than, as he was talking about, putting his butt on the line fighting in Ukraine, he wants others to do that. He wanted to kill Trump. But first, foremost...
Whoa. We need to slow down a little bit. We want to deal strictly in facts here. We don't know why he may have done what he did, if he did anything. So, we need to stick with facts. No. We don't know if, I mean, you can sort of see where this might have gone after watching that video, but we don't know, right? We don't know.
No, I was going to just say that. What I just said
Yeah.
was speculation. And indeed, after the first attempt, hours later, I posted on the Forge News, let's deal in fact, not speculation. And what I said, indeed, was speculation, and let's be clear about that. We don't know for sure motive. And also, technically speaking, this, that he was there to assassinate Trump, unless he has confessed to such, currently is speculation and no evidence for a court of law to convict of such, because he did not get off a shot. But we all know, right? All right, let's be reasonable people in here, that the chances he was there to, what, hunt squirrel and gopher? Likely nil. The chances he was there at Trump's course when Trump was on it, 2 holes away, to randomly kill his ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend, again, likely nil. But it is indeed speculation. This indeed was a second attempt on Trump.
Well, we can confirm the FBI is investigating this as in their assessment as a possible second attempted assassination. So that much we know. That is how the FBI is treating this. So that does mesh with what you just said in that regard.
Exactly. It is indeed speculation, but I mean 99.999% likelihood, but until we gather the evidence that can be presented in court of law to convict, that is indeed speculation. But now, going forward on the reasonable assumption this is what that was, yes, let's deal in facts, because you saw the email I sent out. Last year, like I said, the Forbes News, I wrote right after the first attempt, or not last year, but the first attempt, right? Let's be reasonable, let's be sensible, let's gather facts, let's deal in fact, because the more speculation or conspiracy nuttiness we lead to does more harm than good. It's why people roll their eyes and walk away when Hunter Biden's laptop, which was real, was deemed conspiracy, because you saw the email. It got forwarded all over. And of course, a nut that I know, it's why I don't associate with him and his other nut friends, you know, the kind, oh, it's supposed to rain today here in Wyandotte. Oh, that's a CIA plot to make it rain in Wyandotte. Okay, low eyes, laugh and walk away. But it is people like that that cause conspiracy reality to get overlooked. And he said, well, you know it's the CIA, don't you? If you don't, you're stupid. Well, you know, until you have at least anything circumstantial, that is wild speculation. Could the CIA be involved? Yes. Might they be involved? Yes. A lot of people think they probably are involved, including me saying that, yeah, I mean, something has happened, that 2 attempts have gotten this far. Somebody somewhere, if not aiding and abetting directly, is trying to open the ability for this to happen. That lends credence to such a speculation. But again, if we are to sway real hearts, minds, and votes, stick with intelligent facts that can sway votes, not the nuttiness crap that some people want to lead to every time.
We just don't know. We only know what we know.
No.
Everything else we don't know.
Well, we do know something, Rick, that the information was way too slow to come out after the first attempt. And this time, it came out way too fast. I said in the chat, the local police, FBI, Secret Service need 2, 3, 4, preferably 8 hours of silence to move on other vehicles and addresses associated with this person, to see and collect evidence to be able to use in court. And prove she was there to kill Trump.
Again, whoa, so just tap the brakes a little bit. You're saying what? That the police need at least 8 hours to do what?
Well, you already gave his name. Like I said,
Yeah.
He had a GoPro. He wanted to become famous.
Well, we don't know that, Joseph. We don't know that either.
Well, we do know that he had a GoPro, but indeed.
Okay. Let me. I've got another call coming in. Let me call you back in a moment. Okay. Let me call you back. Okay. We've got Steve on the line. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, Rick. Yeah, I just did you hear my message?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Okay. Well, I'd like you to hear the message because I'd like to voice my opinion on these attempts.
Well, you're live on the air right now because you're dialing right into the show. Just so you know.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
Right
So if you want to do that, I mean, go ahead. You're
right.
live. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
So, on the topic of Trump's alleged second assassination attempt, I find right away the first thing that came to me, the first thought in my mind was that they're giving out way too much information about this case, way too fast to the public.
Okay.
And that points to me in relation to the first assassination attempt, which was absolutely a complete surprise. And so, do you notice that it took a while for this type of information to come out on the first attack? Because it was a complete surprise. But on the second attempt, they're so fast. Within hours, they're like, oh yeah, we can give a description of an AK-47 with a scope, and then next thing you know, we got a 56-year-old suspect, and now all of a sudden we've got this old video footage of him depicting what type of person this character is, and finally, the last thing that I've noticed about all this is that in both cases, the two suspects were white degenerates. And that's it. That's my opinion.
Okay. I kind of understand. I'm not sure I follow the logic on too slow with information the first time, too fast this time. I just think it would depend on the circumstances. This thing today seems it's a lot less complex because there's no evidence the suspect fired a shot. So there are no ballistics or anything that need to be analyzed like there were the first time around. You've just got a suspect arrested after some sort of pursuit or chase or search. So they get this guy. I don't know. To me, having covered thousands probably of police investigations over the course of my career as a journalist, every case is a little bit different. I can understand why the authorities would want to get the information out that they got out today as quickly as they possibly can, because there's so much pressure, demand from media on behalf of the public to have as much information shared as quickly as possible. Plus, they want to put the public's mind, or put the public at ease, and let them know that there's no more danger to the public, that they've secured the area, they're confident that there's no more danger. So there's that aspect to it. What happened in Pennsylvania, somewhat different, because shots were fired, Trump was hit. You've got you know, a large crowd of people. It was an event. This is a more closed, controlled area. So I don't know.
That was a legit attack. The
Oh,
first
yeah.
one was a legit attack. The
It sure
second one
was,
was
yeah.
completely fabricated. That's my opinion.
You think this was like some staged thing?
Yep, absolutely, 100%.
I see.
It's my gut feeling. It's my gut feeling. When I see this and it's like, to me, I'm attracted to it. It trumps daytime soap operas, for God's sake, Rick. Like, it's so obvious. It's so obvious. It's right in front of our eyes.
Well, you certainly have this guy who not only is arrested for what appears to be a possible attempted assassination, but there's this video now of him that's supposed to be shot in Ukraine. Now, it was done by Newsweek, I guess, had the video, so it's got to go back
Right,
2 years.
And it's so super fast that video is available to the general public right now. Like, there's obviously a narrative being.
Why would you say that? I don't understand. I don't understand why that would alarm you, because it was a media piece, so it looks like that video has been released before.
They pull that up right away. But on the first suspect, which was a complete surprise and completely real, they can't seem to pull any information and release any kind of information or old footage from Facebook videos off of this guy. What was his name again? I forget. Like, it doesn't even matter, because the whole thing is just, it's ridiculous to me, and I laugh at it.
Okay. Yeah, well, it's all strange.
It is strange. It's weird, right?
There you go. There's the word. I'm trying to avoid using it because I don't want to play into the politics on one side or the other.
But it is weird.
It is weird. Yeah.
It is so weird.
Here we are saying weird, and they pulled that word out, and they're using that as a campaign slogan, aren't they?
Yeah.
Which is weird too.
That's all I care to voice, I guess. I view this thing, everything from, what's real is that, the world has changed since the pandemic, which is the most recent event. That prior to that, it was 9/11, but collectively together right now, it hasn't been any weirder. It is so weird.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree with you there, sir. I absolutely do.
So, enjoy the program, and thanks for letting me voice my opinions, the way I view things. That's how I view things.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you. I love your platform.
Thanks, Steve. Always welcome here. Take care.
All right, bud.
Okay, see you. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, things are sure weird these days. I'll tell you that. Very weird. Very weird. Let's take a little break. I'll get the next call queued up here. Hang on. We'll be right back with more coverage of this second apparent attempted assassination of Donald Trump.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
All right, we're back with Joseph again. Joseph, you just heard Steve use that word, the W word, weird. Are you seeing weirdness here too?
Well, more so I'm concerned that you rightly stopped me talking about why the GoPro may or may not have been there as speculation. But then you let him go on to the speculation. This is all theater. None of it was real.
Well,
but he kind of, when he started, was making my point I was making when you dropped me to take his call. The information took too long, again, on the first attempt. But this one, I agree. And what I think happened is the reason they were willing to give the information is that the suspect was able to get away. And a bolo went out on him and the SUV. And many people with sophisticated scanners probably heard it, so word was already out and on the news and on the internet. Otherwise, they should have, more appropriately, police procedure would be to try to hold all information of the event for at least a couple hours so they could move on properties to collect evidence and maybe intercede any co-conspirators if there were any. Otherwise, the word gets out right away. They have immediate chance to destroy evidence and flee into the wind, as the saying goes.
Mm-hmm.
So he was partially right on that, but then he's taking it to that speculation of, oh, this is all theater, it's all a farce, it's not real. Because remember, there was a Secret Service whistleblower who said there was chatter on 3 plots against Trump. So does that play into any of this or not? I don't know. That's a little fact and a little speculation.
I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. All we have is people talking again, and now, I have, my view is generally that what's right in front of you is generally the truth. And then everything that spins off that is like, yeah, it's just, oh, this guy thinks that, and this guy has this idea, and you can conflate and speculate, but at the end of the day, I think, you've got somebody, in a case like this, all we know is what we know. And we'll get more information.
Occam's razor. Yeah, my friend Occam's razor.
That's
I
right.
agree. Normally, 99% of the time, the simple, logical, easy to see explanation is generally the reality. Not always, but I agree that with this case, it is speculation till we have evidence this was an attempt on Trump. That's fairly reasonable to jump to as a conclusion. The rest of it may or may not be.
Don't know. I mean, we don't know much about this guy yet. We don't, so we don't have, any confirmation of anything that would tell us much about his possible motivations here. But it looks like Facebook has now scrubbed Ryan Routh's Facebook profile.
Of course.
So hang on a second. I'm just going to look here and see what I can. There was a little bit. Yeah, it looks like from what I'm seeing of a screenshot here, and I'll just show you. Last post on his Facebook page, if this is accurate, if we can take that as being fairly accurate from what I'm seeing in this video, sort of a before and after. So there's his Facebook page before deletion, a post on July 10th. And again, something in there about soldiers, please do not call me. Can't see the whole thing. So I'm not sure what that's about, but of course we know that if that video was also accurate, then he was over in Ukraine for a time. That post making some reference to Afghanistan, I don't know what it was about, and I did not get a chance to see his full Facebook page beforehand. But I will say this, I guarantee you pretty much that by this time tomorrow, we'll have at least half a dozen different conspiracy theories swirling around this, probably more. And in a week from now, we'll have 20 or 30.
Yeah, and that is my point, my friend, my concern. Again, the nut like responded to my email. You are not helping. If the facts should be enough, let's stick with and deal in the facts of what we know and indeed keep our speculation to a minimum. But again, was he there to kill Trump? Well, come on. Pretty easy, obvious assumption, although be it
Again, I mean,
speculation.
again,
Thing,
we can go so far as to say that it's being investigated as a possible attempted assassination. After that,
yeah,
you know, I say, wait, let's get some facts, let's get some information that's, you know, solid. But what do you think this is going to do to Trump in terms of the polls?
I think you'll get a couple point bump out of it. And again, yeah, you just made my point. Let's keep our powder dry. The reality and the facts are enough. Let's not go off the conspiracy deep end.
That's where I'm at. That's me.
Yep.
So,
we're on the same page, brother.
I am not at all surprised this has happened, honestly, because emotions are running high. Social media is contributing to the destabilization of society. We have people, you know, I think mental illness is running rampant. We have that being amplified by propaganda, information warfare. We have, I think, mental illness on that level almost being, not almost, I think in a way it is being weaponized. And this is the result of all of those factors coming together, I think, possibly. But this is me speculating right now, right? So,
yeah, well, I and the sources that I have that I consider credible, reasonable, logic, reason, not emotionally hysterical snowflakes, do accept and believe, although, yes, speculation. We don't have the Social Security. The Secret Service whistleblower has not testified in open Congress to the fact there were chatter for 3 plots. But I accept that was probably legit, and this now as evident lends credibility to that speculation.
oh. Well, let me just, I'm going to jump off here. I've got another call coming in, Joseph. So hang tight. I might call you back. Hang on.
Well, let me just, I'm going to jump off here.
Okay, hang on just a moment. I'm just going to check this call and we'll be right back.
He's a fighter. He's a survivor. President Trump, defiant, strong. He is determined to make America great again. Pay tribute to the 45th President of the United States with this collectible t-shirt from the Maverick News Memorable Moments collection. Even a would-be assassin's bullet could not stop him. Instead, he emerged with his fist in the air ready to fight. For freedom. Get your Trump Fighting for Freedom t-shirt with any donation of $30 or more to Maverick News. There are 2 iconic artistic designs to choose from. But there is only one way to get these. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Support free speech. Free media. Support Maverick News. Call 1-866-248-1490 or order online at supergeeks.tv.
Okay, we have Isabel on the line. Go ahead. What are you thinking?
I know my brain is going, wow. I think back to when Trump made the statement that he wants to blow the JFK files wide open. And I wonder if this is part of that they're so afraid that he's going to uncover and unleash everything. So it makes me wonder. Is the other side that afraid? Are these people that are unbalanced? Like what? And I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but I keep thinking this is what he's been stating. And I mean, Harris, Kakala.
That's a good one. That's a good nickname if I ever heard one. Kakala.
Kakala. I mean, she keeps promoting that he's a racist and that he wants to, abort babies in the 9th month when he's not. He's pro-life and pro-choice, really, to a point. But she keeps blackballing him, which sets these other crazies off. But I'm also wondering, like you were talking with Joseph and Steve, that it just seems funny that I know, okay, they got this guy right away, but it just seems funny. All of a sudden, they got all this information on him, and they're willing to share it. What really stung me was he's not a sitting president, so he doesn't need proper security.
What do you mean? He does have proper security. He has Secret Service protection.
But they were, okay, Secret Service protection, but that guy that came on tonight, whoever the head guy was that they were giving up the information, and they were saying, like,
yeah,
he doesn't require extra because he's not a sitting president. Wait a minute, we just seen him almost assassinated a month ago. Wouldn't you want to put more protection on him? He is going into the election. He is the opponent. It kind of sounds to me like they really don't care.
I don't. Well, I understand what you're sort of saying. I'm not sure that it's fair to assess it quite that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because he does have Secret Service protection everywhere he goes. He has a parade of Secret Service vehicles, which you see all the time because he is a former president. So he's under constant protection everywhere he goes. You just heard what the procedure is at the golf course. They have officers that move up ahead of him by at least one hole and clear the entire area before he gets to the next hole to keep people away. And that's when they discovered this suspect, and then shots rang out that apparently was Secret Service firing at the suspect. The suspect never actually got any shots off. So essentially it looks like they not only did their job, but the system they have set up worked in this case to uncover the would-be assassin and flush him out before anything bad happened. And then because of the condensed nature of the incident and the straightforward way in which it happened, I think that the circumstances were such that and this is just my assessment, that they were able to come forward and give us the amount of information we have at this point. Keep in mind too that video I ran from Newsweek, that did not come from police. That's social media. That's because that is a news story that was done by Newsweek about the situation in Ukraine. And if you recall back in the first stages of the conflict over there were efforts being made to try to get people from other countries to go and fight with like the Foreign Legion, right? And so we saw some of those kinds of efforts ongoing at that time. That's what he got caught up in. That's what he was doing over there, from what I saw in that Newsweek video. So that would have already been out. It's already online. It's been published. So of course, with hundreds of millions of people just in the United States alone, and that being a high-profile war. As soon as this happens and the guy's name is released by the authorities, instantly someone's going to connect the dots, because and immediately what happens is people get on the internet. They start searching for the guy's name. Bam, they get a hit. He's in this news article, which was published by Newsweek over 2 years ago. Let's take a look at that. Here's the video. Now it's shared out on social media. I find it. I'm putting it up on the show. That's how it comes to me. It only takes a matter of, like, literally right now, the information conduits are such that the whole system of information is lightning fast. Everything happens at an accelerated pace. This is not the 1960s. This isn't the Zapruder film from the JFK assassination, where it's shot on 8mm home film, and then it has to be taken to a lab, and then it has to be developed, and then it ends up, handed off to various people, and then finally it ends up on, a television broadcast a long time later. This is 2024. Information flows almost instantaneously. I mean, instantly. You just put the guy's name out there and you have millions of people doing research and searching for it. Bam, there's a hit. Bam. Now it's out there. One person sees it, 1 million people see it. A million people see it, 100 million people see it. And all within the blink of an eye. And then it ends up right here on this program. That's how fast information flows. You don't need a satellite truck anymore to go live with video. No. You just show up with a phone and click live, and you're on from anywhere in the world. Not like it was even 10 years ago, 15 years ago, even 5 years ago. It's different. And now you have artificial intelligence that's accelerating the flow of information as well. It's creating fake information, fake videos. It's a whole new ballgame. People are not prepared for this. People don't know. People are barely literate in the large sense in our population, because the education system is as it is. I mean, a lot of people have trouble reading, let alone understanding how this new digital information age works. So I don't know. I'm immersed in media. I've worked in media all my life. So I get how this flow of information works and how fast it is now. So I'm not freaking out about the pace at which this information is coming to us today. I don't know. But that's the point, is I'm only sitting here trying to stick to things I know, not to things I don't know. But obviously people have a lot of concerns and there's a lot of emotion, and I'm going to shut up so I can let you talk. Go ahead.
It makes my curiosity, because I try to stay out of the rabbit hole, because as soon as you hit the rim of the rabbit hole, you get sucked in and you're down there with the Mad Hatter.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, and I'm just kind of thinking back when he did make the statements of how he's going to blow that JFK thing wide open. Yeah. And I hear the other day, they make a statement on Fox, because I watch Fox from New York. It's the only one that says anything half decent. And they were stating at that time that one of the guys came out that's in the new investigators that are going through the first assassination with the Secret Service. And the guy made a statement, and he said, it's going to blow your mind when we come out with this information.
You're talking about that clip with Blumenthal the other day.
Pardon?
Are you talking about that short video clip that appeared on social media with Blumenthal after coming out of that hearing with regard to the first assassination attempt? No?
No, this was on Fox. They had the new guy that's taking over for when they're investigating the FBI and the Secret Service.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure.
So I forget what his name is, but he's taken over for the one that retired quickly. That girl that retired, because they were investigating her because of the Secret Service of what happened at the first assassination.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay, I got you.
Right?
Yep.
So now they've got a whole new crew in there, and people are leaving the ship quicker than rats at a drowning ship. So they don't want to be investigated, but they will be. They'll be subpoenaed to go to court probably and testify in front of the House. So, but what he said in that statement, he said it's going to blow your mind and it's going to shock you with the information that we found out. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what did they find out? So we're waiting to find out. So when I find that out, I'll be clicking it together. So there's got to be some kind of connection where there is a faulty break in the line. We all know there was, or that assassination wouldn't have happened with Trump. Because people prior to that were telling the cops there's a guy on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hello, there's a guy on the roof. Why is the guy on the roof? Nobody's checking it out. So there was a faulty line in that. So now with
Oh,
that
yes. So somebody
investigation-
really screwed up there.
Yeah,
no,
so
no
they're
doubt,
investigating this whole process, why that wasn't caught in the beginning, and it was, but they didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So he's saying that's their information is going to blow your mind, and it's going to shock the American people, if not the world. So I think when that comes out, something's going to be tied to this, because we've had so many little loose ends along the way. People are saying it's Iran that's after Trump, and then they're saying it's other sides that are after Trump. And then it's, Kakala who's, doing her thing. It just amazes me that it's only the one person that seems to be going through all this problem. Like, I haven't heard any reports of even her being threatened in any way, that she needs, special security. I haven't heard any of that.
Well, she certainly has the security, whether people talk about
Yes.
it or not. She does. Even as vice president, she has security.
Yeah,
and
but
now,
doesn't seem to have any issues with problems. It's like she's floating through, laughing along the way.
cackling.
But it always seems to be Trump that's having the problem.
She's cackling along the way. She's not just laughing all the way along. She's cackling.
Oh, yeah,
Because
she's cackling.
Yes, because she's Cackala.
Yeah, she is Kakala.
And that's yours. I think you should get royalties on that if Donald Trump picks that one up. He's been looking for a name. So it's pretty good.
Looking for a name.
Yes.
I would love to meet him. I mean, he's, to me, somebody that speaks their mind and doesn't care. It's not that he doesn't care who he offends. He speaks his mind with clarity, and it's common sense. It's plain and simple. It's common sense. I'm old school. I was taught to give respect to people that required respect. Like, people older than me were always Mr. and Mrs., not Tom and Joe. Or maybe it's them and they. I can't remember anymore. But yeah, he speaks from the heart, I find. And they don't like what he says because it's common sense. And I don't understand how the other side isn't looking at this. Like, Barrymore wants a mamala. God, I wouldn't want her as a mamala. But that's what Barrymore says. I'm like, whatever. Just what we need.
Well, this has to be a new record, right?
Pardon?
Is this a record? Surviving 2 attempted assassinations as president?
It must be.
It must be. It has to be a record.
It has to be a record.
I'll have to ask Joseph. Maybe he's dialed in more. Has there ever been a president who survived 2 attempted assassinations?
Yeah, that's got to be something.
See, that's probably why it was staged. If it was staged, it's just because Donald Trump staged it. He just wants to be number 1 in assassination attempt survivals. He's got to be number 1 at everything.
I'm not going down that rabbit hole. We're going to hear all that tomorrow morning.
There you go. Well, I shouldn't be making light of this, but the one thing that struck me today, though, Isabel, is when this happened, it was kind of like, oh yeah, again. It was like, no big deal. I'm not surprised.
And it kind of felt that way when I heard it. I'm like, come on, not again.
Yeah. Oh my God. And it's not. I don't think it has the energy and mania around it that the first one did. Of course, no shots were fired at Trump, so that diminishes the intensity of this right away. But
that was. I mean, the first one, it wasn't just him. There was one gentleman killed and others injured.
Yes.
And what I felt out of that, because I saw it actually happen, I almost fell off the couch. And I'm like, oh my God, like, here we go, JFK. And then when I seen him stand up again, I thought, wow, you know, like he's going to tell them, like, they almost got me, but they didn't get me, so don't give up. That was what I got out of that. And yeah, and he was very concerned about the other people.
I have to admit, I do have a conspiracy theory in my head. I haven't expressed it to anyone, but it's cooked up in there. It's percolating. It's in my brain. I have my own. I have to admit I do.
So do we watch for the smoke coming out of your ears? Or?
So, oh man. But my conspiracy theory in my head led me to this question today. If Donald Trump were to be assassinated, what would happen? Who would replace him as the candidate at this point?
Vance?
It would come down to two different people. He'd be one. Who's the other?
I forgot her name.
Throw that out there into the world of chat. Guys, help me answer that question. It's in my head. It's two different people. Vance is one, and there's one
from Hawaii.
There's one other person who I think would be who they would tap to fill that role. Who would it be? Uniquely positioned. Phallus says Mike Pence will never get in. Yeah, it wouldn't be Pence. He's not popular enough and hated by many. Tinfoil Hat says Elon Musk. No.
No, what's his name? It's not Ramaswamy. Is that what his name is?
Vivek. No, wouldn't he? I mean, you could do that, but no, I don't think that's who it would be. And just looking in the chat here on Rumble. Here we go. See if anybody is of the same mind as me. His son or Tucker? His son? No, wouldn't be his son. Tulsi, that's another name that would come up. I'm surprised nobody else is following me on this.
I thought it would have been the one, if not Tulsi, I thought it would have been the one from Hawaii.
Yeah, Steve's got it. RFK Jr.
Oh, RFK Jr. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's why I think that this is part of my conspiracy theory. Yeah, if Trump were to be assassinated, it would set the United States on fire. Then who would they have step up? It would have to be either Vance, who's his VP, right?
Yeah.
His running mate. That would normally be the person. We just saw that with Kamala. Kakala, sorry. As you put it, right? Take over for Biden. So it could be J.D. Vance. But this is a very unusual election. We now have RFK Jr., who has just joined with Trump in this coalition, this unity party.
Yeah.
Right? And I find it very interesting that he's uniquely positioned because why? He's already on the ballot in many states.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's already on the ballot. And then he's saying a vote for him is a vote for Trump. If Trump were to be assassinated, then they just flip it around and say a vote for RFK is the same as a vote for Trump. And then,
right.
But here's the thing about RFK Jr. I don't think RFK Jr. is anything like Donald Trump. When I look at RFK Jr., when I really look at him, on most issues, they don't even align. RFK Jr. is way far left. People don't realize it. He wants to ban natural gas exports. He wants to stop fracking. Donald Trump wants to frack. Donald Trump wants to drill. RFK Jr. is pretty much pro-climate change environmentalist kind of guy. Donald Trump wants to make the military as like super strong. He wants to invest in the military. He did the last time. He built the military up when he was president. RFK Jr., he doesn't just want to pull funding out of Ukraine. He wants to take the entire U.S. military budget and cut it by at least half. Do you know what that would mean?
Whoa.
Yeah. That's not Donald Trump. That's not Donald Trump's policies. That's RFK Jr. And yet, strangely, people are following along with him. You know, I can understand that Trump needs the support. He needs to consolidate to defeat Kamala. But these two guys, this is a match made in I don't know where. Because these two guys are from different freaking political planets, really. The only thing that really kind of combines them is they agree sort of on the overall idea of trying to bring the wars to an end. And after that, it just kind of falls apart.
Well, I know Trump did state that they don't see eye to eye and agree on a lot of things. But they do agree on some things.
Yeah, but even the some things, they don't really align. Trump's, more of he's a populist, but from the other side. The problem with populism is it's hard to create anything that's lasting and cohesive because you get so many people with all these different political viewpoints into that populist soup, right? It becomes a stew. And it's generally because people are upset about one thing or, that kind of binds them together. They're upset about, the economy or, some social issue that brings them together. But it's usually through history only for a very brief time because they find one thing that binds people together. That's what's happened during the pandemic. It's the pandemic that brought people who were upset about the lockdowns and the mandates all together into the populist camp. But that camp is made up of communists, anarchists, conservatives, socialists, libertarians, liberals. It runs the gamut. So good luck holding that together after you get them in power. It'll be completely dysfunctional. I guarantee it. Because they don't agree on anything else. They generally don't, because a conservative is not a socialist, but they may agree. That's the thing. I hear people saying, I'm a conservative, and then I listen to what they actually say. They're conservative in name only generally these days because they're way far over on the left. Yeah. So a lot of this stuff doesn't make sense. But anyway, that's a topic for a different discussion. I'm just saying, what would be the process if Donald Trump were to be assassinated? And who would end up replacing him? The name I come up with is not J.D. Vance. He's not ready, by the way, in my view, especially after you see just what happened in the last couple of days when he was asked on that interview about during the debate, right? He was asked about the abortion issue.
Yeah.
And he spoke and sort of spoke out of turn and spoke for Trump and kind of got it wrong.
Yeah.
Well, you're supposed to be the vice president. You better be real careful with your words. He's still too green. He has a lot to learn. And he's to learn to choose his words more carefully. RFK Jr. too. All right. That guy, I've watched him, doesn't choose his words carefully enough for the position he's in, even as a presidential candidate. A liability to the country, that man is. That's why he gets people so upset, because of some of the things that he has said that has put the United States in jeopardy in terms of perception and possibly even litigation in not just the court of international public opinion, but the International Criminal Court.
Yeah.
So I've got issues with him, but that's ongoing. Anyway, again, I'll throw it over to you. What are your thoughts?
Well, and yeah, I see that. There's a lot of things I don't follow with RFK.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the pharmaceuticals and that go, yes, I understand where he's coming from there.
Yeah.
And I do believe that's I mean, it's been a conspiracy all the way along. They make us sick to make us healthy, to make us sick to make us healthy. It's that damn circle. And
Yeah.
as you know, I am a homeopathic. I don't believe in pharmaceuticals. Of course, you know, my kids call it my voodoo medication. But I don't believe in pharmaceuticals because I don't want the side effects.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care what they tell me. No, I'm not doing that. And following that, I hear RFK talking about making them healthy again with all their GMOs and the shit they put in their food. Yeah, and I'm not into that either. That part I do like about him, making the country healthy again. But there are some things that are kind of quirky about him. But I think Trump has a problem right now. He has that one girl that's a follower of his that's causing issues for his party.
Laura Loomer.
Yeah, and she's causing big issues for him.
Yes.
And she's not on his party. She has really nothing to do with him. But
Well, she's
stands up
traveling.
for
She's
him.
been traveling with him, and she was there to help him prep for the debate.
And he's having, I guess there's been a lot of bad comments about her.
Yes. Yeah, because she is in that sort of conspiracy theory camp, and she puts out a lot of stuff that some people would say is not entirely credible. I get it.
Yeah.
So it's easy pickings for the other side when you have that stuff. Listen, I better pick up this other call, Isabel.
Oh, okay, then you
All right.
have a great night.
You
Thanks
too.
again, Rick.
Thank you for calling in.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, here we go. Okay, Kitty's on the line.
Oh, yes.
All
How
right.
are you, Rick?
I'm great. So you're live, and
Yes.
share your thoughts on this.
Oh, my. Well, first of all, I'm turning 62 on Wednesday, and I feel like I'm just limping through every day because in the past couple of weeks, it seems like a day is like a year. So much happens. It's quite something. And I tell you, the callers have been excellent, but I have a thought.
Yeah.
I feel like the temperature is really cooking in the States, and it's also cooking in Canada. And do you remember when you showed that video of, I can't remember the senator's name, where he was talking about the minerals in Ukraine that can be mined?
Okay.
In other words, money. Now, Trudeau and Biden have been working together, well, or Harris, or whichever one, anyway, with the U.S. government, because they really want to have an attack go deep into Russia. Okay?
They want who? Sorry, what?
I think, is it the UN that's approved for those missiles to for Ukraine to attack the deep inside of Russia?
No, UN didn't approve that. No, that's not the way it works.
Which one? Because someone did.
Yeah.
Someone approved.
So yeah, the UK, Britain,
Yeah,
I believe
yeah,
has
the
approved the use of
Yeah.
long-range missiles into
That's right.
Russia.
And you got Trudeau a couple days ago where he said, oh, absolutely, gotta, go in there, gotta do this. You got Biden saying, oh, yeah, we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
And then you have Trump saying, I'm gonna stop it in the first day.
Yeah.
Well, there are a lot, I just feel like there's something bigger that nobody knows going on way behind the scenes in this. Because when I heard about this today, my first thought, I hung my head and I'm like, oh no, not again. Because it's to the point that I'm hoping the poor man makes it alive to the election. I understand some people thinking that, oh, it's made up and whatever. Well, nobody goes to this much trouble. And with the way social media and people are, everybody with telephones, of course it would get out quick to the public.
Yeah.
Of
course.
Because anybody with the scanner can pick up a bolo on it. They're not hidden.
You
And
mean
there's always someone keeping an eye.
police chatter? You mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Some,
I got a
some,
scanner here and I can pick them up.
Some, some of it. Some of it's, a lot of it's encrypted. That
Yeah.
you can't get, but there is some that's out there you can pick up some.
Oh yeah, like I can on the Canadian one, but I really do think it has to do with the fact that they know Trump wins, and I really do think he's going to. That man, I tell you, he reminds me of those. Remember those blow-up dolls that when you're a kid you punch it, it bounce down, bounce back up. Well, that's Trump, you know. Like he's covered with Teflon or something. Like I don't know. You pop him one, he bounces down, and bounces back up again.
I had
He
one.
doesn't care.
I had those when I was a kid. Did you have one of those?
Oh, I had two of them because I destroyed the first one. I had so much fun with my poor parents. I
I'd forgotten
love
about
those.
those.
Remember they had it was weighted at the bottom.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I had two of those. That's what Trump reminds me of. Like, I mean, you gotta laugh. Like even in serious times, and
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, forget the Teflon, man. No, he's got that friggin' punching doll that I had when I was a kid. Bop it in the head, boop, there he goes. He just pops right back up again.
Hey, listen, call me back in a minute. Joseph's on the line again, and he keeps calling in. He must be important. Hang on.
No problem.
You keep calling. You must have something important to share.
Yes, exactly.
What's going on?
I'll get muted to rumble now. Couple things on who would replace Trump's speculation if shot.
Yeah.
Three things. One, RFK Jr. is not out on the ballots for an electoral college win now at this point due to all the previous lawfare.
But if Trump were to be assassinated, whoever they would pick isn't either. So they would need to take special action to get someone on the ballot, whether it's RFK Jr. or someone else. And because RFK Jr. was a presidential candidate to begin with, and because he has joined the team, and because you have to put together a presidential candidate with a running mate, it's just my view that likely he would be the guy. Hang on, Joseph. Call me back. I'm going to take another call in right now. Hang on, okay? Call me back in a minute. Hang on a second here.
So,
Yeah, okay, go ahead. So who do we have on the line here? Go ahead, say your name for us.
Adriana Howard.
Hi. Okay, and what did you have to say about President Trump? Go ahead.
I love the man. He tried to save our country, and they tried to kill him. They will do it. And I'm afraid the FBI, CIA, and all this crap, they're against him. Because he tried to bring out the deep state, what they're doing to our country, the wars, they're killing people in Israel, they're killing people in Ukraine, and they try to take him out, period, because the only man who can save this country. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. What city are you calling from?
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Where are you located? Where are you located?
We are located in Canada. Yeah.
Oh my God, more communism over there. How can you stand it? How can you stand it? Communism over here. I came from Greece 45 years ago to leave the communists over there, and now they make America communist. I'm very fed up, and I'm very disappointed because we, the people, we're supposed to go to the ballots and take everybody out. All those communists. All those communists out in the ballot box.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah.
I'm very disappointed with this country. I'm very disappointed. No, not the country. We the people. Forget the country is beautiful. We the people want to do the right thing to save this country. And only Trump. Only Trump. I don't care. I'm not a God. I cannot judge him as a human being. He's a businessman, and he's trying to save this country. Period. Period. We cannot. I'm not a God. I'm married 3 times. He married 3 times. So
Who am I to judge him? Who am I? I'm nobody, and I'm not a god. I want him as a president like 40 years ago. We got beautiful. Everything was beautiful. Now we're dying because we can afford nothing, and we're retirees over here. And I'm working. This is horrible. What happened to this beautiful country? It's horrible with the communists, the Democratic Party. You mean the Communist Party? The communists. I mean, I'm very upset. I'm very upset what happened to this beautiful country. In Canada, I have a lot of people from my family from Greece. They live in Ontario, Canada. I don't want to see them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to be in that country, but I don't care about Canada. I'm not globalist. I'm nationalist. I care about my nation here in America, and we have to fight and ballot back to get rid of those communists. Period. Thank you, sir.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you very much for calling. It's been a pleasure. You have a great night. Take care.
You too, sir. Thank you.
Okay, folks, we'll be right back right after this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, Joseph is back, and you want to expand on the conversation about what would happen if Trump were to be assassinated. God forbid that would ever happen, but go ahead, share your additional views.
Amen. God forbid. I've said over and over, I'm not a Trump cultist. Trump is a very imperfect person, and I don't even agree with him on like 100% of policy. But he, God has used imperfect people, poor characters at times through history. This is the time we need a Trump. So I'm supporting him. But yeah, if God forbid, the campaign laws in the United States, the same reason the Kamalists had to replace Biden because of the laws, it would have to be Vance. And then I've got an article coming soon on the
Wait a minute. What do you mean because of the laws? What law says that it has to be Vance?
Well, in some places there are ballot law issues. Other places, especially on the federal level, in order to be able to transfer the campaign monies, or you reset to zero. But your point, RFK Jr. probably does still have some campaign finance funds around, but that's the main reason it is the Kamalunist. The monies can only be transferred to her, and they didn't want to reset to zero.
Yes, the campaign finance laws. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other thing regarding RFK Jr., I've got an article, I already released it early on beforeitsnews.com, and will be on thelibertybeacon.com in the next several weeks before the election. RFK Jr., the scuttlebutt, the speculation is indeed over the vax issue and health issues. He would be appointed health secretary, HHS secretary, and I would have no problem with that, as was going on in the chat. There is zero chance in hell I would ever vote for RFK Jr. for president, unless the only alternative was the communist. But a person like him, on agreed issues and under control, can be the head of a cabinet department.
Yeah. Well, there's really no precedent in place for the replacement of a candidate assassinated in the scenario that we are laying out here. So it would be chaotic and
Not assassinated, but there is legal precedent in the United States. There has been a few times, it can be Googled, where a deceased candidate on the ballot was elected. Now, I'd have to dig in. I didn't have time to do that today. I didn't know we were going down this rabbit hole. What the courts then ordered happened after that.
it would open the floodgates to litigation, all kinds of legal challenges, because the process of selecting a replacement candidate would have to happen quickly. There would be all kinds of oh my goodness, emotion, chaos surrounding it. People would question the process even after the election were done.
Especially at the POTUS level. But again, there are legal precedences. A deceased person was on the ballot, got elected. I don't know then the outcomes. I haven't had
Well,
time
there's
to
no
go
way
through
that's not going to happen. That's not going to. They're not going to leave his name on the ballot and elect a dead guy. That won't happen. That's just not in the cards.
And also, there are precedents over the 2020 election why SCOTUS refused to see the evidence, because the only alternative then would be legal precedent, court precedent, where election fraud was proven. You can't prove then who won or lost. It could not be certified. Judges
Well, that's another scenario again, irrelevant to the conversation. We're talking about what happens if Donald Trump were to be assassinated. Now you have an empty name, an empty spot on the ballot. It has to be filled with somebody in order to have an election, unless you then have Kamala acclaimed, and that's not going to happen. The American people would not accept that. So something very quickly would have to fall into place. That means it's probably J.D. Vance, because he's the running mate. That would be a very likely scenario. The other name that comes up for me, and I think there is a process that can be followed, is to put RFK Jr. on the ballot, and that's because he's joined the campaign just recently. He's also a presidential contender, has been, and in fact is still on the ballot in many states. And it wouldn't take much for the RNC to pull him into the fold, give him party membership, name him as their primary candidate, keep Vance on the ballot where he's at, and throw a bunch of money at it, and let the voters decide. Now, the thing that I find alarming about it all is because, and this is where the conspiracy thing starts to spin up in my head and the smoke starts to come out of my ears, is exactly what I said. I listened to RFK in his video the other day say, you have to vote for Donald Trump because it's the only way, and this is me being conspiratorial, he said it's the only way that we can get, our policies enacted or whatever, right? Because he knows that he can't get elected, so he joins the Trump camp, then he can get his stuff enacted. Well, how are you going to do that? Well, you either become part of the administration, or if Trump were to be assassinated and then he runs for president and then he's the guy. And then he gets elected. See, that's the smoke coming out of my ears. But that's this whole thing is speculation. What if Trump were to be assassinated? So what would the process be? And there it is. There's the path forward for RFK Jr. actually becoming president. Where in the very beginning, and I said this strangely enough, even when his name was first put forward as a candidate, I said there are only a couple of ways he's got a chance at winning this thing, and that's if Biden self-destructs, which he has, right? Only he self-destructed to the point where they replaced him with a viable candidate. So that scenario sort of went by the wayside. And I said the other possibility is Trump is assassinated. And if he's assassinated, then he becomes the de facto alternative choice. Even if RFK Jr. were to just run as the independent candidate and keep his name on the ballot, and he got enough support behind him somehow to get his name on the rest of the ballots, so he has a path forward to an electoral college victory. I don't know exactly how that would play out, but if Trump were to be assassinated, that would create an unprecedented set of circumstances in which action would have to be taken to put a viable candidate forward to run against Kamala, and RFK Jr.'s name is definitely in the mix there. That's how he becomes president, if at all. And the irony in all of that is what I said, RFK Jr., his ideas, his policies do not align very well at all with what Trump is really supposed to be all about.
Yeah, well, Rick, first, yes, like said in chat, like, share, subscribe, make sure, donate on Rumble. You saw me earlier, folks in chat. Donate $20 to make a comment to post at the top for a while. Please keep Maverick News on the air and use discussion to live. Donate or go to the store and buy. But Rick, you're missing my point. There are precedents at state levels regarding this. That's why SCOTUS would immediately have to step in, because it is a national question then, and they would immediately have to rule whether the other lower court precedents applied or not, and what could or could not be done. And then also, Johnny says, I would like to see elections with no donor dollars. Well, Johnny, no. No. The communists already want that in this country. They want federally funded elections. And you know who benefits? The deep state incumbents every time, because the money then, taxpayer money, is given to them, and other people's money is excluded. Violation of our Constitution. I have freedom of speech. The court has ruled my money, my property, is an extension of my speech. Citizens United didn't go far enough. I have a right to give my money and as much of it to whomever I want for whatever reason. That means running for office also. You cannot take away my right to fund my desired candidate, but I get it. A lot of the dark money. And the left always complains about dark money, but if you look, I got a meme I share all the time. Where does the dark money come from and go to? The left. It's again projection. They whine and moan and accuse everybody else of what they're guilty of.
Yeah, so just looking in the chat, Maggie G Creation says RFK. Alicia says great caller. Who else do we have in here? Brian says Trump gets an awful lot of money from super PACs, which are outside of campaign finance. That's right. Sandy says us, the USA, would have to hold off if there was till they figured out who to put in election. Peter Grayson says DeSantis would be brought in for prez and Vance remain as VP. That's maybe, but RFK Jr. is the name that surfaces for me. And never happened, Rick. Never, says Peter. Yeah.
Yeah, regarding the PACs, that is part of the dark money thing. That's part of Citizens United. That's part of the constitutional ruling. You cannot keep me from giving my money to whom I wanted to. They didn't go far enough. I can only give Trump, $2,500, whatever the amount is, or another, there are still campaign finance limits because of McCain, McLean, Feingold garbage, most of which has been overturned, but not all of it. But yes, I can give unlimited to a PAC. But again, most of that deep state dark money is on the left. Thankfully, we on the right are getting better and creating more PACs and raising more money. And of course, PACs by law cannot communicate directly and, correlate strategy between a campaign and the PAC. The PAC has to, by law, I'm sure there's conspiracy and behind the scenes illegality, collusion going on at times, but by law, a PAC has to be separate. And I'd rather give my money to a PAC that supports a cause rather than necessarily one specific candidate. You're kind of limiting your reach then there.
Okay, let's wrap it up there for now. If needed, I'll give you a show back. Thank you, Joseph. Appreciate your comments as always.
Yeah, I'm going to move on to my articles and my show. I got an episode needs some editing, so
All right.
I'll talk with you later, brother.
You betcha. All right, thanks,
God
Joseph.
bless.
See ya. Bye. Okay, let's see who we have here. Hang on just a sec. Here we go. Who's on the line? Is that who I think it is?
Guess who it is, guys?
You-
It's your good old dragon.
Dragon from Montreal.
I got a little something for you. You asked earlier who was in the United States as a president that has been attempted twice of assassination. Gerald R. Ford, 1975, the 22 of September. Look it up.
Gerald Ford there were 2 assassination attempts on Gerald Ford?
Yeah, 17 days apart of both assassination attempts on Gerald R. Ford.
I don't remember Gerald Ford assassination attempts. Really?
Oh, well, I did look it up with my trusty Bing co-pilot. And,
I thought that's something I should have remembered, but I was still pretty young at the time. Yeah. People don't talk much about Gerald Ford because he was sort of a short-lived president, He replaced Nixon. He was his VP, and then after Watergate, he stepped in and took over. And that's where he got his presidency from. So, yeah, I don't recall those assassination attempts. Thank you for sharing that with us. What do you think about what happened today?
well, I'm surprised. And in another way, I'm surprised and not surprised. I mean, there's so much thing going on right now. I mean, it's crazy. I know that we have a second assassination attempt on Trump. It's just crazy, bro. I don't know what to say about that, except that, well, I think that it would have turned the country upside down if that would have been the case of killing President Trump, I think.
Yeah.
From my point of view, I think that we could have seen a lot of people angry on the street of America, and yeah, it would have been probably a sad day, not just because of the former president being killed, but also because of the frustration of the population.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of sad.
Another
But I think
very,
it's also
very
an
strange
attempt to bring that population to that point, I think.
Well, I don't know, man. The whole thing is just weird. Just weird.
And real quick, if you ask me about Trump and RFK alignment, even if they have a big difference of point of view between them, I would say that it's the same way that you and I sometimes don't agree on something, but we, get into the middle of the thing, right?
I don't know about that, Dragon. In this case, I think people are under some sort of a spell, some sort of a political voodoo spell with RFK Jr. When initially I didn't really know a lot about RFK Jr. I hadn't really paid much attention to him as a possible presidential candidate until his name was actually put forward. And then I saw some of the surface level stuff and, the vaccine stuff that he talked about. So I was aware of that. But then over time, as I started to dig in to understand what the guy was really about, over time, and I learned more and more about all the different policy positions he took. And it's things like completely ban natural gas exports, just ban them. Do you know how that's radical? People and the people supporting him, I don't think that they realize that. To say that he wants to cut the defense budget by half, 50%. Hello.
That's crazy.
Hello. This is the United States, superpower, standing, the way that. Do you know what the ramifications of that would be? It would be. It's not just about. Oh, yeah, on the surface, that sounds fantastic. Oh, great, we're going to cut the military budget by half and we'll just bring all that money home and we'll stop spending it and peace and love all around the world and then we'll stop being the big bully internationally. No. Do you know how destabilizing that would be? It would plunge the world into a state of destabilization. The entire world would become chaotic. You would have wars everywhere. That sounds wonderful. Yeah. That would be a flippin' disaster globally. It would create this giant power vacuum and the death and destruction that would follow in the wake of that, I guarantee it, because it would just create this giant vortex of negative power. And
Can I make a comment?
Oh my God. Yeah, go ahead.
That vacuum would have been the gravitational force pulled of that power vacuum would have been of a dark hole, I think.
It's just, people. It sounds wonderful, like a communist utopia sounds wonderful, right? No, that has so many unintended consequences. Just the military budget thing alone, it would destroy the United States. It would destroy countless other countries in the wake of that as well. Freedom would cease to exist on the planet. I guarantee it.
Yeah, it's opening the door to attack.
And you want to get close to a nuclear war? That would bring us closer to a nuclear war than anything ever. It would just about guarantee it, because it would become a self-induced existential crisis, not a threat, a crisis for the United States of America. RFK Jr. would destroy the United States of America in the blink of an eye if he were to become president. That is the bloody truth. And I'm sorry, a lot of people don't want to hear me say that. I've been, for a long time, very supportive of Donald Trump. This alliance makes no sense beyond the necessity for it in order to gain power and form a united front against the Democrats in order to secure the election. Beyond that, it would be completely dysfunctional if it were to come to pass. Just like the populist movement itself. A disaster in the wings, and that's why the conspiracy theory wheels started to spin in my head, because it was like I said the only path forward for him to victory was if Trump was assassinated. Then he joins the campaign, and then you get another assassination attempt today. And then I'm like, I'm not saying that that's really the truth, but that's I'm not saying it's the truth at all. I'm just saying that's what got spun up in my mind today. I'm sorry. I'm not supportive of RFK Jr. at all anymore. I'm trying to remain, the point is I'm an equal opportunity critic of all the candidates. I'm not supporting any of them. I don't support Trump. I don't support Kamala. I don't support RFK. I don't support Putin. I don't support any of them, but I'll criticize them all. And if they do something good, I'll say that too, but I'm not formally endorsing, not that anyone would care if I endorsed any Mickey Mouse. Who am I to endorse anybody? But I'll tell you, this RFK stuff, the more I look at him, the more I'm afraid of him. I'm very afraid of him. He spent his entire life suing all these companies. I watched these videos recently. The information he's sharing on a lot of these issues, not really true at all. Making all kinds of statements, claims, and even people on the conservative side, they're just accepting it as fact. But when I look into it, it's factually just plain wrong. It's just false. False information. And he's just putting it out in his videos, and it sounds wonderful, but it's just plain demonstrably, factually provable as to be not true. And there's all kinds of this stuff that he's spinning up in his campaign videos. Now, I understand why Trump needs him, and so people are, have been, excited about it, but no, not me. This makes...
RFK is a great talker.
Yeah, he'd be a great destroyer.
He's a great orator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just saying. People say, I do my research. Yeah, the research people do these days amounts to going online and watching a video and finding something that sort of aligns with the way they want to think. But it doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it actually factual. Challenge yourself. Go look at the stuff on the other side. Go watch the stuff you don't agree with. And challenge yourself, and then look at it all. That's what you need to do. Go watch the mainstream media, and then go watch some other stuff that you don't agree with. If you're a conservative, go watch the communist stuff. If you're a communist, go watch the conservative stuff. Go watch the neoliberal stuff. Go watch the libertarian. Go watch other stuff. Challenge yourself, and then go look for actual facts, like demonstrable statistical information, legislative documentation to back up what people are saying. Look for the facts. Look for the actual evidence, not just for legal matters, but for political matters. Go find the real information. Challenge yourself. Otherwise, you're going to get some guy who's going to blow up the world. Maybe.
And if you take the fact that RFK want to cut like 50% of the defense money, well, I mean, not only that you're opening the door to a third world war or a nuclear attack or whatever kind of attack.
I'm all for cutting the military budget by 50%. I'll cut the military budget. I'll back up. Somebody wants to cut it by 90%. But Russia goes first, and China, or at the same time. Nobody's calling for them to cut their military spending over here. All I ever hear about over here is, yeah, we're the big bully. We need to cut our military spending. We need to defund the military. That's what I see all these protesters in the streets saying. Are any of them saying that Russia should also demilitarize? That they should reduce their spending on defense spending? Anybody calling for China to divest from their military buildup? Or Iran, or any other country, even one other country. No, it's always the United States. It's only us. We're the ones we're supposed to disarm. Talk about gun control. The people who are upset about giving up their guns are running over there saying, yeah, let's give up all our guns and leave the country pretty much defenseless in the face of a growing, more complex geopolitical reality, where not only do we have other countries building up their militaries at unprecedented levels, with China even approaching a level where they become a major rival to the United States, we have other countries like Iran within, spitting distance of having the nuclear bomb. And do you know how complicated things become at that point? Mutually assured destruction is no longer the only scenario. That's why a nuclear war becomes much more realistic. I can go on about this stuff, but you quote war game this out, and we used to have MAD, mutually assured destruction. What if the United States launches against Russia, Russia launches against the US, they both blow each other to kingdom come. So it makes no sense. Essentially, that scenario makes nuclear weapons useless. You can't use them. That's why I've kind of come to a place where I'm not even that worried at this point about a nuclear exchange between the United States and Russia. Because if Putin pushes the button the way he's threatening to, he's just going to blow himself up and his country, and it becomes self-defeating. So it's not really an option for either side. But you let a country like Iran get the bomb, and holy Toledo, now suddenly if Iran uses the bomb, well, what's the United States going to do? Retaliate against just Iran? Well, then Iran could be acting as a proxy for Russia. Now suddenly, Russia can, in alignment with Iran, have Iran launch an attack against this target or that target, use nukes on maybe a limited scale. The United States can't really blame Russia directly. So then what's the nuclear response to that nuclear attack going to be? Now you get a limited scale nuclear war going on. Now the genie's out of the bottle. Now you've got a real nuclear crisis on a global scale happening. That's why idiots like George frickin' Galloway, who sit there and say, yes, it would be a great idea for Iran to have the bomb too. No, we don't want any more countries to have the damn bomb because things are way too complicated as it is. And I just laid it out in very simple terms what could possibly happen. RFK Jr. plays right into that with his let's defund the military by 50%. Anything that you do with regard to major changes in the balance of power globally, it better be done in a very careful, measured, thoughtful way, not just by taking a great big meat cleaver to the budget so that it instantaneously changes the power dynamics globally. Do you know what would freaking happen?
Oh, it would be nightmarish. Because, I mean, if you look at it, okay, if you give nuclear to everyone, I mean, you never know which...
Megrim, yes, sorry, Jet Dragon, defund the police. Sounds familiar. Exactly. Hello, open the other eye, folks. I keep telling everybody, people are like, I hate this BLM defund the police chants, I hate that stuff. This is defund the police, but it's defund the military. It's exactly right. And the very kind of people that you've been locked down by, that you're opposed to politically because of their authoritarianism, it sounds very familiar, doesn't it? And yet, strangely, they're within striking distance of the White House now. Through, this indirect backdoor conduit and maybe infiltration into the Trump camp. Isn't that weird? That's pretty freaking weird, isn't it? And you're right, Megrim. It does sound very familiar to me. I was thinking exactly that just the other day. Defund the police sounds very much like defund the military to me. Sorry, folks. Yep. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just doing my job.
Yeah, don't attack Rick, okay? Don't attack Rick over that. We're just messaging you guys.
I'm telling you.
It does make sense.
Yeah, and Johnny's in the chat, and he's saying, how many military bases do the Americans have across the world? He says, over 200. How many do China or Russia have? Who's the bully? You know what, John? I'm just telling you, man. You have the U.S. has those bases in a lot of those countries because there are agreements in place with countries all around the world for NATO to provide international stability. You yank those bases and you watch what happens. You think that nothing's going to happen? Everybody just lives happily ever after? Ha! I don't think so. No, sir. A lot of people want those bases shut down so that they can usurp the power. That's why they want them shut down. Not because it's going to be utopia afterward, my friend. That would just create, like I said, a giant power vacuum. And in the wake of that, you would have so much instability, so much war. The talk about a world war, that guarantees it. Guarantees it.
Yeah, because remember, First World War, how did that happen? It was by the death of the Austrian king, if I do remember well.
Sorry, I wasn't following you there, Dragon. I didn't quite pick up what you were saying.
World War One, how did it start? It was the death of a king, right?
No, an archduke.
It wasn't the assassination of the duke or something like that?
The duke, yeah. The duke.
Okay, so basically that was creating a vacuum that created the First World War. So you see how history repeats itself right now.
Sort of.
I mean, it's just, it's a bit of an analogy, but, and I want to remind everyone that the BRICS, which is the axis of today, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have their own NATO agreement of their own kind of thing, right? And they have their own Article 5 thing, basically meaning that if we attack Iran or one of the Russian axis or friend, actually, well, it's like you touch me, you touch my friend, and we all going to retaliate at the same time, kind of thing. Like the Article 5 of NATO. So they have their own Article 5. So, this is bring us really close to a major war. Just because of, like you said, if we attack, for example, Iran because they have attacked someone with nukes and we retaliate, Russia can tomorrow say, okay, well then, you have retaliated, we need now to push the big button. Or whatever, it could bring us to a kinetic war just in the snap.
Sure.
It's kind of sad.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. So, well, thanks for calling in, Dragon. I appreciate it. You want to wrap up with any final thought?
Don't forget the likes button, folks, because we are going wild with that algorithm on Rumble. So keep sharing, keep doing your thing. It's working. So, yeah. And keep positive, guys. Always keep the scroll your friends, because, well, look at the video I sent the other day. I can pet my old guy now.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Dragon, for calling in from Montreal tonight. Appreciate it, sir.
Good night, folks.
Okay, see you. Bye. Now, was there, I can't remember, there was somebody else we were talking to, and I think I cut that call short. So I'll give it a moment. If, I can't remember, was it Kitty? I can't remember if it was, whoever it was. If you want to call back, I'll take the call. Let's take another quick break. And if that person wants to call back in, I'll put you right on. Here's the number. Okay, Mavericks, it's call-in time. Join the conversation. Call now, 1-519-401-1373. One 519-401-1373. Exercise your right to free speech. That's 1-519-401-1373. That's 1-519-401-1373. Maverick News. Call now. The world is watching and listening to you. Okay, Kitty did call back. So, welcome back. Where were we at? I can't remember.
Oh, we were talking about those bubble things.
That's right.
them down, and they
That's
bounced
right.
right back up again. Yeah, actually, Robert came out and asked me about them, and then he went looking, and he found them online. They still sell them. Can you believe that?
Oh, do they really? That's
Yep, they
funny.
still do. He's still laughing about that. But like all kidding aside, all the colors have been so good. They basically said everything I was going to, except I have one question.
Yeah.
How can we lower the temperature? Everything, there is being political. I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a difference to being political to now where it's at. If you have it, you know, you're either this party or that party,
Yes.
or this person or that person. And if out of 10 things you disagree in one, all of a sudden you're done. What can we all do to lower the temperature? Somehow, some way. I think we've forgotten how to do that, because otherwise things are going, and I'll tell you, God forbid that something happens to President Trump, because I seriously hope not. Like, I don't care who it is. Like, I do not go for that. But like, the temperature is so hot right now. Like, would you ever have thought you'd see this?
No. I really didn't.
Yeah, like I'm totally befuddled. It's and it's sad because, you know, like we've got to do something. Like we got to like catch our breath or count to 10 or something, because at the end of the day, like whether it's a president, vice president, MP, or representative of any sort, at the end of the day, when they're off, they're off work.
Yeah.
They're home with their family or their friends, and like, you know, like that's the only thought running in my brain now. Like I say, all the colors were so good, they took everything I was going to say. I was just sitting here nodding, going, "Yep, that's right. Yep, check." But what can we do? Like, it's volatile out there. It's terrible.
I wish I had an answer. I really do.
You know, like, and God forbid, if something, I pray nothing more happens. But words have power.
Yeah.
And there's an awful lot of, like, and people just throw them out right, left, and center on X and Facebook, not so much because it's, you know, more heavily monitored, but people are using words as weapons and just not thinking about it and laughing and joking about it. And I'm like, this isn't funny. Because God forbid something happens to him, that's going to be the match to gasoline.
Yes. Yeah.
Like that will be it. Nothing will stop it, because the people will, metaphorically speaking, they're just going to throw up their hands and say, that's it.
Man, I don't know.
Like, I don't know, just a thought to throw out there maybe is like, just because, like, for example, in Canada, just because someone is a liberal and someone is a conservative or Green Party, or there's a pop party, isn't there, or something, I don't know. But like, whatever party someone likes, it doesn't mean they're an awful, wicked, horrible person. They just have, I come from a time, I'm so old. I come from a time where it was okay to have a different opinion.
Yeah. Well, we
It
used
didn't
to.
mean they were a terrible person. They just had different opinions. You go, okay, that's cool. We'll agree to disagree, and you carry on.
Yeah.
Why can't it be like that anymore?
The pandemic happened. That's why. Because people's rights were violated, because people were pushed to the edge, because people were locked down, because people lost their jobs, because people were forced to do things that they shouldn't have been forced to do, because you got all kinds of information warfare happening at the same time. You have foreign influence in there as well. You have other governments taking advantage of that to create more destabilization within our society. You have political parties, new ones in some cases, also trying to capitalize on the chaos, and the existing parties as well, at war with each other, jockeying for
Yes.
position, all exploiting the crisis, not letting probably the worst crisis in our in generations go to waste. They don't want to lose the opportunity, so everybody's trying to use it, and in the process, a lot of people working against the best interests of the country and the citizens in the quest for power.
Well,
So
it seems to me that the collateral damage is going to be our soul if we all don't sit up and just have a hard think and be like, you know what? Just because my brother, sister, husband, friend, co-worker likes them, they aren't all bad.
Yeah.
It's and I totally agree with you. Like, to this day, there are still people that will not speak to me, and the only reason is because I did not get the
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
the thingy in the army.
Yeah, it's and to my mind, it's like, that's so stupid. You go from having laughs with somebody to all of a sudden they, based on that one thing alone, they're like, nah, you're no good, not going to talk to you. Like, the pendulum has to come back to the middle somehow, because if we all don't work together, and by we, I don't just mean Canadians or Americans. I mean everybody, even in the community. If we don't start working together and cutting some slack, we're not going to make it.
Yeah.
And we've got to. And
We will.
like, as far as like the Donald Trump attempt today, all we can do is just hope and pray that it doesn't happen, because everybody is suffering. Everyone is trying to figure out how to pay their bills, buy food, buy gas, get to work, get home, fix their car, whatever it is.
Yeah.
There is not one person that is sitting there going, yeah, I got it cushy. Unlike, unless if you're a millionaire, but everyone's got something. Everyone's got worries at home. And it's like we just have to somehow, I've been trying to figure out how we got to find ourselves again. I think, in terms of Canadians, I think Trudeau, metaphorically speaking, stripped their identity by saying that we're the first post-national state and we don't have an identity.
Yep.
I got really offended to that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But maybe all we need to do is find a way to just find a release valve, find a way to blow off a little steam, release a little tension. Maybe what we need is just to take out our frustration on one of those punching bags.
Oh, they're so cool.
Yeah.
They are. Well, Robert said he wants to buy one, and I said, well, we're not going to get just one. I said, I missed it. I said, it's great.
Well, maybe just pick the politician that you want to pick, and get a punching bag with their face on it. Like, this. I don't mean to offend anybody who's pro-Trump here, right? But I did find this that I want to share with everyone before we sign off tonight, and I'll share it with you, Kitty. Here's a Trump punching bag, just like the what did they call these things that they pop back up like this?
I think someone said it in the chat earlier, the Weeble Wobbles.
Yeah, the Weeble Wobbles, the Weeble Wobble punching bag thingy. You know what I'm talking about, and if you don't, well, you'll understand once you watch this. So I did find this. I'm not going to run the music. This is a commercial of some sort for the Trump punching bag. So, maybe there's hope after all, right? At least, even if you're a Trump fan, you can still laugh at this.
That's it. There you go. Hey, Rick, put that on your thing with the T-shirts and put Trudeau's face on it. You'll be a millionaire.
No, I'll have people if I wear that, people will walk up and start punching me. No, thank you. Anyway, Kitty, thank you so much for calling in tonight. It's been a pleasure as always.
No problem, Rick. And hugs and love to you and the Maverick family, and to your doggy too, by the way. Haven't forgotten about your dog.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Well, you all have a great night, and I'll just say one more thing. Peace, all. Remember, we're all the same.
All right. Call back again soon.
I will.
All right, talk to you then. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Good night.
And with that, folks, we are going to wrap up for tonight. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out here. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the thumbs up, hit the notification bell in YouTube. Please subscribe on our channels, in particular over on Rumble, where we continue to build and need to find momentum there. And subscribe on YouTube, too. I mean, we just don't want to be reliant on YouTube, but we'll take the viewers wherever we can find them to get the message out there as we continue to fight for freedom, and that fight, that quest for freedom, true freedom. Like freedom, not like fake freedom or collectivist, oppressionistic, impressionistic, artistic style, weird neo-freedom. No, real true freedom. Our quest for real freedom will continue tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Maverick News Channel. See you tomorrow on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.